Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's another week of Fed Friday. I'm Joe Gleason, FRC with Federal Benefits Advisors, and with me is my co-host and brother, Thom Gleason. Thom, welcome to the show.
Hey, Joe, how's it going? I like the snazzy new backgrounds that you found.
Yeah. You give a little inch on the AI and look what happens, right? I take a mile.
Well, right. I suspect that our sound is going to be so much more balanced and refined now. We've got these beautiful, those sound pads and everything in our...
Oh, yeah. This is state of the art. Love the new studio.
So you guys that are watching this, you can either respond in the comments or let us know, give us some feedback on our background. It may not live here forever, but for this week anyway, we're going with it, and it's kind of a fun thing to play with. So should we jump in?
Yeah, let's do it. So, what our format with this is we really want to give updates. What happened the last week or two, and then what we're hearing from the federal employees that we're speaking with throughout the week, some of the concerns, some of the things that they're thinking about, best practices that we're finding, and information that we can share and weave it together so that as people are nearing retirement or making the decision to retire, or if you're in retirement, like how to keep that train on the tracks, right? And so what is it that we're seeing that we really wanted to kind of start with that you pulled up this week?
Sure. Well, and before I jump into that, we're not just two guys that these groovy sound rooms that we're working in. Joe and myself are FRCs, which is Federal Retirement Consultants. We have a financial planning background and over 20 years each of experience in the industry. So we take our federal benefits expertise and weave that in with our financial planning background. And that's where we deliver the information to you guys. Hopefully it's comprehensive and holistic for you. But we have a back office and a whole team of people behind us that are also working with us to make sure we're delivering real-time information. So all that background stuff to say, one of the things that I really want to impress upon folks right now, and let's talk about this for a little bit, is it's getting to that time of year. I think we're at that time of year where, especially when you look at the OPM data, it's over 75 days on average. It's like 76 days on average that the retirement process, paperwork and processing is taking. If you're doing a paper app, it's taking over 100 days, but if you're doing it digitally, then it's a little bit less. And so there's that. That's where that average lives, Joe. So now's the time. We're here to tell you, if you're on the fence, if you're looking to retire by the end of this year, and there's some sweet spot dates in that time that we can share with you if you were to follow up with us. But this is the time to get that initiated with your HR and OPM.
Yeah, absolutely. Because keep in mind, and a lot of people know, like, hey, I'm going to retire at the end of the year. So they've made that decision. They know in their mind. So they're not even, for the folks that know that already, you absolutely need to be, if you haven't already, taking those steps and working with HR and OPM. I'd recommend personally that you reach out to Thom or I and get a benefits report if you haven't recently. Because
What's
in our benefits
report, Joe?
Why, Thom? Let me tell you. It's a no cost, no obligation report that we put together, and it takes your service computation date, your birth date, and all of your high three and all the things that you'd want to factor in to get a real time, latest up to date benefits report that will give you what your FERS pension would project to be. It'll project your TSP based on your allocations and contributions. It shows FEHB. And so it really gives you an idea as you transition from working and contributing to all of these benefits to what it'll be when you flip that switch and retire and you go from an employee to a retiree. And there's definitely a pivot in that, not only like in income and lifestyle and all of those things, but really with your mindset on how you enter that. So we can begin those conversations and show you what that's going to look like with actual information, because we do have the FRC knowledge to be able to understand your benefits, because what federal employees have is a unique offering, and we want to make sure that we are bringing that to life to show you all those years of hard work, what that's going to look like when you retire.
Yeah, and going from all your earning years into your retirement, where you take those earnings and you start to live off of them. In other words, in the financial planning parlance, known as the accumulation years into the distribution years, there's some real pitfalls. You know, I don't know. I tell my clients this all the time in our meetings, but there's more people that die on the trip down from Mount Everest than going up.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people, they just think, oh, I'm retired and I don't really have to do anything. No, you have to be aware of things like market fluctuations and things like inflation, more so in retirement than even when you're working. Because when you're working, you got your salary, you get your increases, and that money, just going into your TSP every month, you're not really needing that, obviously, at that point, because you got your salary. Well, as a general rule.
So the benefits analysis is kind of like, hey, this is your trip up, and we Sherpa you way up to the top of Everest, and then we also Sherpa you back down, where you're seeing where those pitfalls could be. So like sequence of risk concerns, where if you're taking huge market losses in the early years, it could really have a devastating effect on the long-term retirement. We've got double digits with health benefits this last year, increase in premiums. So
wait. Don't just gloss over that. That's a huge point that you're making right there. Mm-hmm. Say that again, and let's put that into let's roll up our sleeves, right? And share in English what that means to someone who is, especially someone who's retired. But what does that look like? What does that mean?
Well, it just is where if you're planning hard numbers in planning your income plan in retirement, and you've got the budget and the unforeseen cost of health insurance, you're thinking, oh, it's been trickling up 4, 5, 6% increase from your payments, your premiums each year. And like last year, it was in the double digit increases. So is that something we should expect more years than not in the years to come, or was that an outlier? Well, what if it is? And what's my income plan for that? So
because especially when you look at, and I'm going to speak in general terms, when you look at folks that pivot from climbing up Mount Everest or your accumulation phase, and then you retire, which is reaching the peak, right? And then on the way down, that's the distribution phase where folks are in retirement. So when you're in retirement, as a general rule, folks tend to be more conservative with their investments. So things like the G fund and some of the more conservative L funds are where folks tend to put their allocations.
To that. I don't think that's bad. That's not bad.
Right. It's not a bad thing, but when you do that, right? So if the G fund has averaged 2.5%, 3% over the last 10 years, and you're seeing your health insurance premiums go up double digit, 10 plus, each year, that means that the interest that you're earning on your TSP isn't outpacing those costs. And obviously, if you go to the grocery store or if you've bought gas recently, everything's getting more expensive. So,
and that's just one expense.
What we encourage folks to do.
Yeah, that's just the one expense.
I think there might be a glitch.
Yeah, did we have a little lag there? But then we were talking about this before we went on. That's just one expense. Another one that we talk about in our benefits report is if you have FEHB. So that is another, not necessarily year or two into retirement, but as you get older and deeper into retirement years, those expenses can go up pretty dramatically too. And if you're not prepared for it, you could be in quicksand up to your neck before you really know what your options are. So just those are just examples.
Yeah, I would say the first decision is do you even need life insurance? So if you don't need life insurance, then we need to look at that. But if you do need life insurance, there might be private sector options that are less expensive or a better value for the premiums that you're paying. And so we'll help take a look at all that for you so that you're getting the most bang for your buck, so that your dollar goes to things that you enjoy, that you want to spend your money on, like enjoying the grandkids or traveling or whatever those things might be, right, and not going to premiums or not going to, fees or any of these other things. So it is important. Remember, Grandpa used to always say, it's not what you make, it's what you save, right? And so that's very important to look at.
Well, and I think let me ask you this: how many folks have you been running across this year, maybe more than in years past, that are bringing up Roth? Where I hear that because there's so many new options, or there's some enhancements with the TSP and Roth and some of those things. That's come up a lot. So that's just another integration into the short term, midterm, and long term.
Yeah, I would say the my conversations with the Roth are more for people that are 5-6 years removed from retirement or even further. But if you're right at retirement right now, you're probably a little more limited than the person who has a few more years. But it still may be worth exploring based on what your situation is. But I'm kind of speaking in general terms. But yeah, Roth. When do you pay your taxes? Do you want to pay them now, or do you want to pay them down the road?
Is there a more efficient way to go about it as I transition into retirement? Maybe, maybe not. That's one of the things. And that's one of the things, I guess, when we were starting this chat, we were talking about, giving folks more clarity on what their hard numbers look like now, if you're within a year or two of retiring. And definitely friendly little tease again. If you're going to retire by the end of this year, friendly advice, get started now. But the other thing is, folks that are maybe thinking, maybe 5-6 years out, what are my numbers? And if you're thinking, I just talked to a client this week. She was like, my folks are getting pretty, they're elderly, and I really they're starting to slip a little bit. I like to spend more time with them. I've got a daughter who's engaged, and she's 4 or 5 hours away. So I want to be able to get away from work to be able to go visit her more, because I see myself becoming a grandparent. And we just did some numbers, and she was pleased to find out that she can retire within the next year and a half, whereas her original plan, and she's 60. So
those are fun. I love those conversations when you're like, hey, you can actually retire based on your expected lifestyle and your assets and your planning. Like, right. It's so fun to really bring that to life for folks and show, hey, you can actually retire sooner than you were planning, and especially the last few years with everything with Doge and a lot of the pressures that have been put on everyone as federal employees. There's a lot of people that just want to be done. And so if you can, let's find out. Let's do the math, and let's make a logical decision so that so rather than hope so, and that you can transition from working into retirement with a plan, and so that you don't have to look over your shoulder and worry every month if you're going to have enough to meet your bills. So that's what we're here for.
Yeah, and I think, so just in summary, like as we start to wind this down, is for folks that are looking to retire by the end of this year, get started. If you want to have us put together hard numbers for you to show you so that you have clarity and more of a direction and a plan as you begin these conversations with OPM and your HR department, cool, we're here for you. But otherwise, folks, that if you're just more on the curious side because you think you're 3, 4, 5, 6 years out, maybe the numbers will light the way to retirement where it's sooner. And so those are the folks we would be looking to have conversations with. There's no cost. Joe's not grumpy most of the time when you call him, but
depends on whether I've had my coffee or not.
Not a morning person.
It's all good.
Yeah, no, and we work. Yeah, we're pretty laid back dudes, as you can tell. So we're just happy. There's no hard sales pitch. We're really here to give you information, and then if there's strategies that we can see based on our experience, then we would at least give you some options, some best case, worst case, pros and cons, and you can decide for yourself if you want to work with us. We're not for everybody. We don't think we are. We're not working with 100% of the people that we have conversations with. So anyway, it's a good opportunity to get some clarification.
Yeah, we want it to be a fit. We want it to be a relationship. And so with that, take advantage of the no cost, no obligation benefits report. We're happy to do that. And let's just take the next step so that you can be prepared and be proactive rather than reactive. So any closing thoughts other than what you've already shared?
Yeah, we're going to put a newsletter together and email it, and that's probably how you found this video. So if you have any questions on that, we can provide clarification for you. Feel free to respond. If you're finding this on our YouTube channel, just comment. All that good stuff helps us.
Yeah, so, like and share, as they say, right?
Yeah, like and share. All right, man. I look forward to talking with you next week.
All right, see you next week. Yeah, take care.